So what are we doing today? What are we covering? We are covering, and what Ajay sir also told me is, I'm trying to tell you a brief on what is an interview, right? How many of you have attended interviews already? Anyone? No. How many of you would like to interview? Okay, you have. Excellent. How many of you would like, obviously, would want to know how to crack an interview? How many of you would want to know how to crack an interview? What about you guys? You don't want to know? You want to know? Higher, higher. Higher. Why are you feeling so shy? First lesson. Sorry? You guys all want to know how to crack an interview? Yes. Okay. What do you think is an interview? Anybody? What do you think is an interview? Sorry, show your? Fantastic. Show your abilities and skills. Fantastic. What else? What's an interview? We have interviews for film actors also, no? Film actors and actresses. That's also an interview, no? What's the difference between that interview and a job interview? Yeah? Nobody? Speak up, yeah? Speak up. You guys need to interact. What's the difference between a job interview and a interview which happens with a film actress or actor? There is a difference. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the differences that job interview is having an experience, and a film interview, a film actress and a journalist is telling experience. So this is one of the difference.
Telling their experience. Okay. Okay. And job interview is having an experience. And these guys share their experiences. Okay. Okay. So film actors, fantastic. Correct. That's what they do, right? They will tell you about your journey. They will tell how they came into the industry. So it's like a conversation. Yeah? It's a conversation, no? Conversation with question and answers. Correct? What's a job interview? That's also a conversation. Right? But during a interview which happens with maybe celebrities, they are not, like she said, they are not checking anything about their ability. Right? But during a job interview, they check. True? What do they check? Excellent. Now you guys are talking. Excellent. Yeah. Abilities and skills. Okay. So basically they are having a conversation with you to check two things. Okay, interview is a very, very simple process. It's considered to be one of the worst processes to hire a candidate. Do you know that? Do you know that? It's considered to be one of the worst processes to hire a candidate because you are trying to gauge everybody in 15 minutes, right? And say, okay, you're hired, correct? It can't be the most smartest process, but unfortunately there is no other alternative. So everybody does interviews. There is no other alternative. How can you really have a really long exercise? When you go and apply maybe in an army, do you know the kind of tests they go through? Right? They'll go through a physical test, then they first have to do an entrance, then they'll go a physical, then again an interview, then a group discussion. Why do they have such a long process? Because they want to hire really, really good people in Indian Army, obviously. But when it comes to corporates, you can't really have such a long process. You can't do business with such a long process. So one of the things you do is you do interviews, right? So next. Next. So my question was, what is an interview? It's a conversation. Okay? Everybody agrees that it is not a question answer session. It's not a session wherein he will try to put a Google on me or Googly on me and I have to be smart enough to answer. It's not that kind of a conversation. It's a proper conversation. They are trying to check two things, as I said. Okay? Next. They are trying to check your skills, which you guys answered. Right? Obviously, what is the kind of skills you have currently? And the second thing they check in an interview is your behavior. Behavior/attitude. These are the only two things that they check in an interview. Skills and your behavior. Behavior or attitude. What is the attitude that you carry towards this job? How serious are you? Really think, you want to work here, right? And obviously the skills. Both are important, right? If they are convinced about your skills, they will ask you questions on your behavior. If they are convinced about your behavior, not so many on skills, they will ask you a lot of questions on skills. That's how it goes. When somebody is convinced with both, is when the person hires you. Right? Now, you guys are what, second year students? Second year and third year students, right? So in terms of skills today, you will have limited skills, isn't it? Yes? So few might be doing some accounting courses, few might be trying to get a job, maybe in a BPO environment or an IT environment and doing those kind of things, right? So your skills become little less. You have very limited skills, right? Your skills can't be of a person who has worked for maybe 5 years. He will have much more skills than you do, right? So you come as a fresher. You join any company as a fresher. For you, when you go for an interview as a fresher, the skills matter, but everybody knows if they're hiring a fresher, the skills will be limited. You can't expect a person who is studying in a second year, third year to have lots of skills. Can't be. Very difficult. So for them, if you really ask me, they look at behavior and attitude. So if you have little skills at your level and good attitude towards work, once you finish your college, that is, you want to make it big or whatever your ambitions are, and you are able to convey that successfully to that person, the chances of you getting hired is very, very high. Because he knows the skills they will teach you. Eventually, you will learn. If you have the right attitude, you will learn the skills. But if you don't have the right attitude and you only have limited skills, obviously, you will not get hired. Okay? So for you guys, more than skills, what is important? / attitude. That becomes much more important when you're going for a job interview. Much, much more important. Not saying skills are not important. Skills are important. But at your level, this makes a big difference. So if I have one person who has 5 skills which I need for the job, but doesn't have a good attitude, but I have another person who has 3 skills, but has a fantastic attitude, who will I have? Why? Because I know these 2 skills I'll teach him. That's not a problem. But if somebody doesn't have a good behavior or good attitude, that is difficult. That is very difficult to change quickly. So I would rather hire somebody who has limited skills but great attitude. Getting it? So when you're going for an interview after you finish your college or whatever, please remember they are checking for these two skills purely.